Okay guys, today is the 7th of June and here in the UK it is just gone 20 past 3, which means that there is 2 hours 39 minutes to go before WWDC 2010 kicks off. A lot of people have made videos about giving their predictions, what they think is going to be at the conference, what they would like to be seen at the conference. So I'm going to quickly make this video, try and get it out before the thing kicks off, and give you my idea about what I think is going to be coming and what I would like to see there. Obviously the first thing that's going to be announced, or the biggest thing that's probably going to be announced at the conference, is going to be the iPhone 4G. Now, what I'm really interested to see happening is to see how they are going to approach the announcement of the actual phone. Given all the hype that's surrounded it, all the leaks, the Gizmodo thing and all the rest of it, in the past when you look over the keynotes that have happened, although there's been rumours and speculation about different features that are coming out on new products, it's never really been definite. So whether you're pleasantly surprised or not so pleasantly surprised, everything in the past that has come forward has been a surprise, one way or the other. On this occasion, we already know quite a lot about the phone. And we know that what Gizmodo had was, the prototype for the iPhone 4G, so we know pretty much what it's going to look like. But what I think, so I'm going to be really interested in how they approach this, the announcement of the iPhone 4G, whether they'll go in a little bit about what happened with Gizmodo and what have you, or whether they'll just completely brush around it and just go straight into it. Now, according to watching things like TwitTV and going Mac Rumours and what have you, I think one of the pretty much given features is front-facing camera and rear camera. Now, we know through the SDK that there's going to be an iChat function because of the app for that. So that'll be really interesting to see how that's going to work out. Now, that's all. Obviously, this video conferencing thing, I think a lot of that's going to be dictated to by networks, which will bring me on to which is something I want to talk about in a second. I think another big, massive change with the iPhone is obviously the form, the actual shape of the phone. Now, we've already seen that in Gizmodo, but I think the iPhone 4G is going to have a really, really crisp, clean screen. There's already talk going around that the resolution is going to be incredibly high on this phone, and that you're talking along the same type of lines as the iPad. So anybody that has an iPad or has seen one in a store, that's the kind of screen clarity that they're talking about, perhaps even better. Going back to the iPad as well, I think that they're going to use the A4 chip, Apple's new chip, in the phone. And again, for those of you that have used the iPad or have owned an iPad, you will know that it's a pretty quick, nippy little chip. So that should be a good feature. Graphics, that type of thing, speed of the phone, that's all going to be in there, along with multitasking, which is a big thing everybody's wanted and asked for. And although a lot of these features seem like pretty obvious features, because there's quite a lot of phones out at the minute that have these, and I personally think that when the iPhone 4G comes out, it's going to make the Android phones, the Evo and stuff like that, look not, because they are looking pretty good, like exceptionally good phones at the minute, and hopefully when the iPhone 4G comes out, it'll balance things out at the minute, because those types of phones against the iPhone 3GS, there is a big gap between them. So hopefully the iPhone 4G will certainly close that gap, if not take over it. Now, coming back to the network thing, I would like to see, and this doesn't affect us in the UK, but I would like to see that in America, that Apple open the phone up, the iPhone up to Verizon and Sprint and T-Mobile, and take away the exclusive rights for AT&T. Now, I know nothing about AT&T. I've never been a customer of AT&T. I've never used their services or anything like that. Same as Verizon, as Sprint. They're all networks I have no experience of. But listening to you guys and some of the problems that you're having with AT&T, I mean, like, take MMS. I mean, like that only just come out for you guys, whereas in Europe and Canada that was all, we had that well before you guys did in America, which I believe was down to AT&T. Tethering is another thing, you know, that's available in Europe and in Canada. Again, from what I'm led to believe, that's not quite the case in America yet because of, again, AT&T. So I would like to see Apple open the phone up to, certainly if not all the networks, a couple of networks, just so that AT&T aren't left with the exclusive rights. So other than the look of the iPhone 4G, I think there's going to be a lot of performance enhancements. The cameras will be better pixels and what have you, and then the rest of it is going to be down to the OS itself. I've also heard as well that iBooks will be coming to the iBook store, will be coming to the phone, so that will be quite, for me personally, I think it will be quite a welcome addition. Using the iBook store on the iPad, I think it's a fantastic experience. On the iPhone, who knows what that's going to be like on the iPhone 4G with the new screen. Now, another thing that I would like to see happen is the iPod Touch. There's a lot of rumours going around that the iPod Touch is also going to get a facelift, better resolution screen, camera on it, whether that's front and rear facing camera or just one camera with, and you know, hopefully that camera will have video capabilities. But if it didn't, then even just the fact that it was a point and shoot camera, that would still be a welcome addition for the iPod Touch. I understand that they don't want to make the iPod Touch and the iPhone too similar, and there has to be some sort of differences, but I think it's time now that the iPod Touch got a little bit of a facelift. Also as well, it would be nice to see the A4 chip going into the iPod Touch, making that a slightly more feature rich product than what it already is. The iMacs and the MacBooks, now there's a lot of speculation going around there as well that they're going to be getting a slight, you know, upgrade, a couple of little things here and there, but one of the biggest things is the Neham, Intel's new Neham, I can't pronounce it guys, okay, but you know what I mean, the new Intel processor. So that's hopefully going to be announced within these machines. Also, there was a patent that has been filed, and there's a lot of speculation as to what this patent means, and it's called 3D hands-free computing. Now, I don't think too much is going to be discussed about that at this particular WWDC, but it's certainly interesting to know that that patent has been filed by Apple, and perhaps it's going to give us an insight as to where they're going in the future. Safari 5, that's another thing that's going to be announced. Now, we already know that there's a couple of different things, the reader and what have you, that's going to be in Safari 5. For me, Safari 4, I love using Safari. It's the only web browser I use at the minute. So Safari 5 for me personally could only be a welcome addition. Mobile Me, now they reckon Mobile Me, there's a new part of that already in beta, and that's the emails part of that. Mobile Me at the minute is, for us in the UK, it's £59 a year. In the UK it's $99 a year. There's rumours going around that that's either going to now become a free service, so that they go more in competition with Google and the services that they offer, or perhaps certainly reducing the cost of that. Me personally, you know, if it was to become a free service, that would be excellent, but I have no problems, me personally, spending the £59 a year for that service. I happen to use it a lot and think it's a good service. With all the features that come with that, including the iPhone Finder, that, you know, that's a good service in itself. But if they do, you know, bring it down to a free service, that's going to be fantastic. Now, this is something that I must right here and now apologise to Dave Black, because I made a video response to one of Dave's videos with regards to iTunes streaming, and I completely misunderstood what he was saying, as usual, because of my stupidity. Made a video response, and the video response was useless really, because I misunderstood what he was saying. But I think Dave is absolutely right. I think the iTunes store will become cloud-based, and all your, you know, content that you're buying from iTunes will be cloud-based, which could make things a whole lot easier. and safer. I think that's something that they might talk about at WWDC. I think there will be talk, but no kind of presentation about 10.7, OS 10.7. It'll probably be just an underside, like a little side bit to WWDC. But it would be nice if they just hinted towards where they're heading with the next operating system. I heard a rumour that there could be talk of them coming out with a front-facing camera on an iPad. I really wouldn't like to see that happening, not yet in any case, because it's only been a couple of months since the iPad's been released. I think if Apple now at WWDC brought out whether it be an upgraded version or whatever, but if they brought out an iPad with a front-facing camera on it 2 months after the release date of, or 3 months after the release date of it in America, and only a couple of weeks here in the UK, I think there would be quite a lot of unhappy people. So I don't think that's a rumour I've heard, and I personally don't think Apple would be that stupid to bring something out that quick. Especially a feature that everybody at the very get-go said it should have been on. But that's just my opinion. Hopefully as well that the Mac Pros, I personally don't have a Mac Pro, I would love a Mac Pro, but that's one of Apple's big guns type of thing, if you want to call it that, and it hasn't been upgraded or touched or really talked about in such a long time. Now I know it's a desktop and there's not really a lot you can talk about, but 2 months ago Intel brought out their hex-core i7 980X processor, and obviously Apple kind of played it down 2 months ago when it came out, and never really said too much about it going into their Mac Pros or anything like that. But it would be nice if they announced at WWDC that that's the type of processor that they were going to go with in the Mac Pros, and certainly make the Mac Pro even more formidable than what it already is. I think that's everything, guys. See you all later, guys, and happy WWDC 2010. Alright guys, bye.